Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome in to another edition of the Big Man on Campus Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus. It is Monday, April 15th, 2019. Hope you had a great weekend. An interesting weekend for sure. A lot going on. The Masters. We had some NBA playoffs. Going to talk about that a little bit. And we're going to get into some of the games tonight. Got both NBA games. We'll chat about a couple MLB games as well. I didn't have a great week last week at all. I actually struggled, to be honest. I had an offer with the Masters. Didn't get any top 20s or anything. It was definitely kind of a rough week, but I was off a good tournament, so it's okay. But hope you had a good weekend. Hope you made some money. We'll nonchalantly try to go over some games tonight and see what we can find. We'll take some questions and we'll just chat a little bit today. So let's check in with a couple people here. Retro Horror, thanks for watching. Says the Sixers hopefully will show up today. Yeah, we'll get into that game. I'm on the Clippers tonight and all that candy. Let's eat. What is candy? They're called points, but I guess that's what you mean. But, yeah, I'll talk about that game as well. Wonderful win by Tiger. Yeah, what a win it was. It was a pretty amazing day. I'm a Tiger guy. I always kind of have been. And if you watch the Right Side of Campus for many years, Donnie and I got into that over the years with him not agreeing with how I felt and telling me that he'll never win again. And, again, I was not exposing Donnie. I was having fun with him. I told him I would whenever Tiger won, and Donnie had to eat a little crow. But again, it was Molinari collapsing. Tiger was just terrific yesterday. There was no one that was going to beat him. Look, all week he was great. Other than putting struggled a little bit, but other than that, he was terrific all season, all week. Adam Ortega, what's up? Chris, Cobra, David, Brandon, Eric. Toronto, thanks for watching. I'm doing well. Hope you all are doing well also. How's it going? Had Watford plus a half and under 1.5 in the second half. You had Watford plus a half. Well, that lost. So you went 1-1, which, yeah, I mean, it probably should have been worse due to the fact that Arsenal was playing against 10 men, but again, sometimes you got to get breaks like that. Arsenal struggle on the road, just that simple. Yet they were able to get a win today. And how about that? The first clean sheet for Arsenal on the road this year. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in. Obviously, this show is a little different than the basketball show. We don't have as much info to talk about, and the amount of people listening in is much lower. A lot of people kind of go into a cocoon till football. And we'll try to provide some fun here on this show. Again, I'm really kind of up in the air right now on what my future is going to be. I have some things that I am working on, so we'll kind of see how that all plays out. I'm not saying that anything is a must foregone conclusion yet, but I am in talks with some things, and we'll see how it all goes. And that will mean that this show possibly will not be on anymore. Again, I'm not sure what's going to happen. One thing I do know is I'm not going anywhere from handicapping. I'm always going to be handicapping. It's just where, am I going to be doing content? That's really the big thing. So if you followed me over the last week, you kind of are aware of what I have going on and if that all happens or not. I was never into betting soccer. So thanks for getting me interested in the sport. I'm very happy that you've opened up more sports. Yeah, it's tough to rag on soccer. It's definitely a fun sport, and you can do some good things with it. Thanks for watching, Mike Butler. Let's get into a few games, a couple of baseball games. Baseball's been tough over the first, as far as week for me. I had a couple. My first game of the week was a tough loss with the game losing by half a run, and I had just some weird games, just overall weird games. But a couple games here I have on the card. I'm not sure that I'm going to have anything tonight. I don't really love Monday cards generally. It's kind of something I generally stay away from. I do have an NBA game tomorrow that I'm all over. I am betting the NBA playoffs. I yesterday had the Oklahoma City Thunder, in which what I thought was a terrific spot for OKC. But look, I got to tell you, yesterday can really try your patience in the NBA. Here was the problem that I had yesterday. I bet into a public side, which that's not something I like to do. It just isn't. I don't like being involved with the public in the NBA. Playoffs, it evens out a bit more, and a lot of the time, it's all about the spot. It's all about the matchup. And for me, with Oklahoma City, I just felt I just think they're a really good matchup against Portland, especially without Nurkic. You look at yesterday's game; they lose by 5, getting 3.5. They shot what was it, 5 for 34 from 3. Paul George was absolutely horrific. Dennis Schroeder provided little to nothing until the end of the game, and Enes Kanter had like the most unbelievable game he's ever had. So, in the NBA, I still felt like I was on the right side. I'm not going to get away from that bet or bets like that. The games tonight that I'm gonna take a look at are interesting. But I first want to get to a little baseball here. I bet light until May and June. You have to. You have to. You can't be going crazy. You can't go crazy. So again, I'd advise you with these. These are just kind of ones that I came across that I found interesting. The first one is that Cub-Marlin game. And look, I've had a weird odyssey with the Cubs so far this season. I've had no legitimate luck with them. And, there's not much surprise behind that because the Cubs have been horrific from the pitching standpoint. And, look, they've been able to score runs. That's kind of been their MO, which is interesting because last week I backed them and I needed them to score runs, and they weren't able to score runs, which is funny. But tonight, you look at tonight, you got Miami against the Cubs, Trevor Richards against Yu Darvish. Now, Yu Darvish is a guy that you look at him as a pitcher right now. His velocity's down. I'm not sure that he's healthy. And generally that means, issues, regression, not going to pitch well. And he's not pitched well. He's in the ERA above 7. Look, I'm not going to try to sell you a bill of goods that Miami is a great team. They're not. They're a team that lacks a lot of talent from an offensive perspective. They're one of the worst offensive teams in the league, really. But I look at this game and I say to myself, well, first of all, you have a guy in Richards who's been very good. You look at in 3 starts, he's got 18 strikeouts. He's using his changeup a lot. You look at his changeup, he's using his changeup on over 39% of his pitches, which you look at kind of analytics and things like that, it's bothering opponents. Opponents only hitting 0.89 against Trevor Richards when he throws a changeup. So he's having a lot of success with that pitch. And you look at this line. I mean, 77% of the tickets, 65% of the money are on the Cubs. The public likes the Cubs. It's that simple. But you look at the line, it's backtracked about 20 cents. You look at it, Pinnacle, you're getting a 130 right now with the Cubs. On the surface, the public likes the Cubs. They always do. They again, don't like the Marlins. But this is a road game. It's a Monday. It's a kid that's pitched actually pretty well against a team that right now I don't really know that's backable. I'll take a shot with the Marlins here in plus money. It's a mangy mutt to get involved with, but the line makes no sense, and you're actually getting a decent matchup here. You look at over the weekend. I Saturday night I actually took the Phillies to beat the Marlins in the first 5. I was getting Eflin against I forget who pitched from Miami, but this Miami offense opened up. They were very good. I think they scored 10 runs. You look at in large parts of this lineup, it's not great, but you look at towards the bottom. Miguel Rojas has played pretty well. Austin Dean, the young guy, he's played some good baseball. They have some guys that can do some things. Look, it's definitely a mutt you got to get involved with that you don't want to bet on. But again, you look at the matchup, it works. The line perspective comes in and works. There you go, Alcantara. I'll take a shot here with the Marlins. Again, that's a good point. Maybe taking the bullpens out of it, really just kind of getting involved Darvish and Richards, which is definitely a good play as well. So if you feel like doing that, there you go. That's actually a decent point. So I would obviously recommend that as well. We do know the Marlins don't have a particularly good bullpen. If you have any overall betting questions, any questions in general, feel free to throw them out. The other game, Philadelphia and the Mets. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it is very windy in this area. Very, very windy. You're talking about 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds. Gusts are even worse. It's real windy around here. And you look it down in Philadelphia, it's no different. Philadelphia is an hour away from me. You look at the winds right now, 25 miles an hour. They are blowing in. There's some crosswinds. It's pretty bad out there. A lot of windy conditions. You got two pitchers tonight in Syndergaard and Nola that, look, you can't get a better pitching matchup. This line is a bit higher right now because of the Phillies offense and the fact that Aaron Nola's not pitched particularly well. I think this is a big start for Nola. I really do, because you're starting to get to that point where you're getting into your fourth or fifth start here. And, look, he's not been very good. His command's not been there. He's just kind of been all over the place. He's not pitched well. And he is huge for the Phillies. If he doesn't pitch well, your rotation goes to complete shit because you don't have much behind Aaron Nola. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. You just gave him some money. This is a guy that needs to pitch well for this team. And this is a team coming in the Mets who, look, outside of a certain few guys, you have pretty good numbers against. Obviously, Peter Alonso's hitting the ball well and, Jeff McNeil. But you look at Aaron Nola. Good numbers against Conforto. Conforto only hitting 143 against him in his career. Ahmed Rosario, some of these guys, Wilson Ramos, these are guys that have seen him before, but I think he can have some success. He does have 13 strikeouts in 3 starts, so the strikeout numbers are there. You look at the Phillies, though, getting Syndergaard tonight. They have some decent success, a lot of these guys. You look at Maikel Franco, Bryce Harper, Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins. All these guys have some pretty decent success against Syndergaard. But you look at the wind, definitely a problem tonight. You also look at Syndergaard. This number is 7.5 because of the ERAs for both these guys. You look at, though, at the FIP for Syndergaard, which is a better indication of his true ERA. It's 2.84. So he is very good from a FIP perspective, fielding and independent pitching. So for him, his true ERA is actually quite good. And he's coming off a very good start against the Minnesota Twins. So, for my money, look, in this ballpark, 7.5 is really tough. But you look at Nola, 15 in the third innings for Nola, 11 earned runs, 14 hits, and 8 walks. He's not been good. Like I said, the command is just not there. 8 walks in 15 innings. But this is a lineup that's not great. It's decent, not great. It is a road game, and it's windy. I think the under looks decent here. You have pretty good bullpens. I'm not in love with the Phillies, but I think they have enough. So I'll lean in a pitcher's duel here. Both these games, again, not premium worthy. They're not the best bets on the board. I don't think I would go nuts on either of these two, but I think there's some value in both of them. It is really windy here. So I'm just making that point here. A couple questions. Thank you, Jar Jar. Thanks for watching. Where is Pete? Peter was just on for one show. I've extended the invitation out to him if he wants to come on again. But Peter is a guy that is doing his thing. I had him on. He told his story. I'd love to have him back if he wants to come on, but he is not. He was just on that one day. So we'll see if he comes on again, but he's always welcome on the show. I also did see that somebody said that I called him a drug addict, which, again, I know who said it. It's a guy that just makes stuff up. There's no at all evidence of that. First of all, I'm not a person that belittles drug users anyway. Second of all, is that where we're going now as haters? We're just making things up. Look, people over the years change. If I've said stuff in the past to people, I apologize for it. And if I've said it, I'm going to say I said it. I've talked about all sorts of things that I've said in the past, and I'll never lie about any of it. I don't ever remember calling Peter Loshik any names. Have I said stuff about Jimmy the Bag? Sure, I have. The reported issues between us have been widely put out there. I wish him the best, and I hope he does good things. Barstool, even there are certain things about Barstool that I don't like that they do, and there's I'm sure people that work there feel the same way. I love Barstool. I've read them for a long time, and there'd be no place I'd rather work than Barstool. It's in fact the only place I'd work. I think it's the only place that would allow me to be the true essence of what I want to be. I don't want to be tied up. I want to be able to do what I want to do. I want to be able to say things that I want to say. Are there things that they've done? Sure. Are there things that Barack Obama's done that I don't like? Sure. Are there things that LeBron James does that I don't like? Yes. Doesn't change that I'm not a fan of theirs. I still root for them. I still watch them. I still love them. Not everyone's going to do everything that you want to do, and not everyone's going to be the same way you want them to be. For instance, I like Law and Order, but once in a while, there are episodes I just don't like. Not everyone does everything. Now, there are people out there that I love. Like Big Cat, Barstool Big Cat, I'm not sure there's anything he's ever done that I don't like. I think it's all good. But there are very few people that can do that. It's difficult. But yeah, for the record, I don't ever remember saying anything. And if I did, I would admit that. What day was Peter on? It was on Friday. What else do we have? Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. Ike Johnson is on the Nets plus 8.5 and Calgary money line. You know what? I actually bet hockey Friday night. I bet hockey. I didn't get any opinion. I just did it on my own. It's my first hockey bet of the year, and I won. In fact, I won in the first fucking period. How about that? It was the over in the Sharks and Vegas game. How about that? First fucking hockey play of the year. It wins in the first period. How about that? How about that? That's good shit, isn't it? Nothing better than a first period winner, right? NBA. Let's do a little NBA. Tonight, obviously, if you've watched me, I have an issue with this Sixer team. It's not secretive. I hate Brett Brown. I don't think they will win with Brett Brown, and clearly Brett Brown doesn't prepare this team whatsoever. Look, you have guys on the phone, on the bench. You have, just a complete lack of control of this team right now. And you look at tonight, you look at this line, and you say to yourself, all right, well, the Sixers are down 1-0. They are at home. Look, they've been getting crushed in the media around here. Ben Simmons is getting murdered in the media. J.J. Redick didn't play well. Tobias Harris didn't play well. You look at those three on Saturday, 18 points combined. They just weren't good. I mean, Ben Simmons was very passive. Ben Simmons might have been the worst Sixer on the court the other day. J.J. Redick continues to come up very short in the playoffs. And Tobias Harris wasn't good either. Without Boban Marjanovic, they would have lost by 20. But I'll tell you this. I thought the fact that they only lost by 9, I thought that was a kind of I'm not saying it was inspiring or anything, but it could have been worse. For as bad as they shot, they were 3 for 25 from 3. They missed 13 free throws. Joel Embiid attempted 5 threes, the most on the team, and didn't make one. And they still only lost by 9. I thought it was damage control, to be frank. I think they come out tonight, and I think they beat Brooklyn by double digits, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I've noticed when Joel Embiid has these games where he takes a ton of threes or he doesn't look particularly good at times, he comes right back and bounces back. Second of all, you look at this spot where you have a Philadelphia team that the overall public doesn't like right now. You look at this line. Almost 60% of the tickets coming in are on Brooklyn. The money, though, is flipped. Sharps like Philadelphia. Look, they didn't play well at all, and they still only lost by 9. They shot 3 for 25 from 3. They missed 13 free throws. That's going to even itself out. Redick's going to have a better game. Harris is going to give you more. You're going to get more from Mike Scott. Mike Scott was 1 for 8 from 3. Mike Scott's usually very good from 3. Brett Brown, I don't know what to say. If he comes out with those stupid lineups and putting everybody in the game, I don't know what I'm going to do. Also, if you look at historically in the playoffs, there are some good numbers out there. I think it's almost 58% that in this kind of unpopular favorite angle, I think I want to say the Sports Insights or somebody put it out. I think as far as including the loss for the Thunder, dogs that are getting more than 50% of the bets have gone 46% ATS in the playoffs since, like, I think 03. Public favorites, I think, are cashing at like 80 or like 57%. You look at also this line here, okay, right? So the money's coming in on, or the tickets are coming in on the Nets, money's coming in on the Sixers, yet the line's going the opposite way. Look, when I saw this game, I like the Sixers, and I like them here. I think they win by double digits. I think they come right back. I think they tie this series up. The regression's got to come back positively. It's got to happen. If it doesn't, if the Sixers lose tonight, this series is over. It's that simple. They are not strong enough mentally, and they're not good enough to come back and go up to Brooklyn and win 2 games. They're just not. It's that simple. And if they lose tonight, if they lose to the Nets, Brett Brown needs to be fired. It's that simple. You should have did it last year, frankly, but they didn't. Brett Brown is not a feasible coach to this team. He just isn't. The talent is there to win. And I hate to say it, but I think if they had another coach, I don't think they'd be having these problems. So that's my thing. The Nets are everything the Sixers aren't. I think that's a bit strong. I think this team's talented, surely. They have plenty of great scorers. They're very athletic, and they have guys that can win games. But this is a leadership problem. It always has been, and it always will be. Scott Redderley, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to send them in, guys. I took the Nets +8. I now regret it. No way do they come out like they did the other day. Philadelphia might be the play. Agreed. They came out strong. They weren't missing. I think this definitely regresses back to where I think it should. This is a good comment. What the fuck? Phones on the bench? They're grown-ass men. What does Brown have to do? Dig through their pockets before the game? That's not his fault. Actually, it is, because it shows that he is not connected with his team whatsoever and that they don't care. You think Greg Popovich's team does stuff like that? Let me ask you. No, they don't. As a professional, you're held to a status, something they don't need to be taught. You look at some of these kids on this team, there's very little respect for the fans, for the people paying for them to be there, for the coach, for anybody. It's just that simple. That would not happen on Greg Popovich's bench. That wouldn't happen on Pat Riley's bench. It just wouldn't. He has no control of this team. He doesn't. It's that simple. Ike Johnson, Embiid is the key. The Nets have no bigs that can stop him in the post. Exactly. That's another key. Good point. That's another thing that you have to – that's why I say get down in the fucking post if you're Embiid. Stop shooting threes. Again, Embiid shot the most threes other than Mike Scott on the team the other day. On the team. Get on the fucking block and dominate. They can't guard you down low. Look at Jared Allen. He got 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes. Did he get another foul? No, because Embiid was out on the fucking perimeter. Get on the block, bro. He could score 30 against his team easily. Get to the line and stay on the block. They don't have anyone that can guard him. They just played all over the place, and that's why they lost. It's that simple. Make the fucking changes as the coach and fix it. And they'll do that tonight. They're going to win. Going away. Alex Ramirez, first time chatting, but not but senior shows. Well, thanks for watching. Glad to have you on the chat, bro. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Retweet the show. Please. Go on Twitter. Retweet the show. It's very helpful to me. If you like me, please do that. It's one thing I ask. Do you think the Nets win outright? No, I just explained why I think the Sixers are going to win by double digits. No, I don't think the Nets are going to win outright. Do I think they win outright in the series? No, I don't. But if they lose tonight, the Sixers, I don't think they will win this series. No. I don't think they're going to go up to Brooklyn and sweep Brooklyn. I just don't. And look, if you've heard me, I've said this series is going to be a concern. I think this series is concerning if I'm a Sixer fan. This Nets team is pretty good. I just think for tonight, I think it's a good spot for the Sixers. I can't retweet because you blocked me. Well, you probably did something stupid. But get in touch with me. Tell me what your Twitter name is, and I'll unblock you. If I blocked you, there's something you did stupid. It's that simple. I don't have the time to go back and forth anymore. I'm done with the going back and forth on dealing with you. Look, if you say something stupid that's offensive, you're going to get blocked. If you want to play, if I'm your friend and we're playing around with each other, you could call me a fat fucker. You could call me this or that. But if I have never met you before and you're coming at me calling me names and stuff, I'm just not going to deal with you. I'm just going to let you go and, good luck to you. Is Embiid 100% healthy? That's a good question. I don't know that he needs to be, though, tonight. You saw what he did on Saturday. When he's on the block, this team will succeed. They don't have anyone down low that can guard him. I'm worried about the Sixers as a fan. Ben Simmons scares me because he can't shoot. Yeah, I mean, look, I think what this series is going to show you is that the Philadelphia 76ers aren't as good as the Bucks or the other teams in this league. Listen, and that, again, has a lot to do with the top. It's just that simple. They're not a great defensive team, and I need a leader as a coach, and they don't have that. And again, Ben Simmons not being able to shoot makes it pretty bad as well. What's up, Russ B? Any feelings on the first half? Yeah, I mean, the Sixers need to come out strong. They have to. Because they're going to hear it if they don't. And everybody wants to talk shit on the Philadelphia fans for booing. Get the hell out of my mentions. Beat it. Get out of my face. All these national people. Philly fans booing. Ha, 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 ha. Listen, if you don't play well, you're going to get booed. It's that simple. It's not us booing because we don't like you. It's not us booing because you stink. It's you booing because we don't see you playing well enough. That's why. And we know you're better than what you are. That's what we do here. It's that simple. I'm sick of people, Philadelphia fans suck. They're shitty fans. What are we supposed to pay hundreds of dollars and watch that effort being given and not boo? Nobody's throwing anything. Nobody's, attacking anyone on the court. We're booing. If they're not playing well. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear because I want you to hear it. You're not playing well. Maybe people need to be more hurtful to their teams. Maybe they'll play a little bit better. But I'll tell you this, I bet Ben Simmons won't say what he said again about these fans. Because he's already kind of on thin ice with fans, so I think he should kind of just cut it back a little bit. That's all I'm going to say. He doesn't really have the I'm not saying he doesn't have clout to say what he says because he's Ben Simmons, but look, he has his own issues that he should work on. Look, if he was LeBron James and LeBron comes in and says, listen, we're working on things, everything's going to be fine. Look, Jimmy Butler handled it perfectly. Big man, unblock me. I'm a fan. You blocked me because of a disagreement over the rapper 6ix9ine. Well, I don't know what we could have disagreed on with him. Maybe it was the fact that I did say at one point, I want to make this clear, I did say at one time, this was one tweet, I said Gunmo is an okay track, and I mean that. That's the kind of rap I'm into. Like, I like that hood shit. But look, obviously we know where he is now. We know what his true colors are. So I don't think we need to kind of keep talking about him. But okay, buddy, fair enough. All these fans that are upset with the Sixers should be viewed as investors. They spend their time and money and purchase. Exactly. Where the fuck would they be without fans? They wouldn't be anywhere. The other game tonight, Clippers Warriors. I had trouble with this game. It's high for a playoff game, but I think it's clear that the Clippers are definitely outmanned in this series. Looks like a sweep probably, but a sweep and then winning tonight by 14 or more is tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to do because again, if you're up 17 or 18 in this game, you know you're looking to rest players. You're looking to give people, the last 3 or 4 minutes on the bench. If you could, these are a lot of games in a few amount of days. If you can get guys 6 or 7 minutes of rest, you're going to do it. And the thing with the Clippers is they have good scorers that can find ways to stay in a game here. If you gave me a free bet on this game and said, listen, you could do what you want to do on this one, I don't know. I'd probably take the Clippers, but it's not a game I'm going to be wagering on. I don't really have much on it. Golden State should sweep. I don't think they'll have any trouble sweeping. But it's not a game that I'm going to be involved with, nor a series that I care much about. What's up, Joe McLean? Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Says the Kardashian curse. I don't believe much in that. I'm actually a fan of the Kardashians, so I don't have. Yeah, I think they're brilliant businesswomen. To be honest with you, I don't think that Kendall Jenner is affecting, Ben Simmons. Look, I just think Ben Simmons needs to. Maybe the first year. He just needs to work on his shot. He needs to get a shot. It's not so much that he's missing shots. He doesn't even take them. And what Brooklyn's going to do is just say, look, shoot. Shoot. No. That's what I would do. You basically on offense, if you can keep him out from under the lane, he's useless. So you shade and you keep him out in the perimeter. Simple. And that's what we mean when we say if he can just get a shot, he could be so dynamic. So dynamic. Because he's so good as a point guard. But he lacks because he can't shoot the basketball. And it's not even that he can't shoot. He will not shoot. Big man, why is it on soccer? It reads, for instance, Wolves -0.5, -1, +104. Because it's a half bet. If they win by 1, you would get your money back. If they win by more than 1, you're betting on that you get a half a push. That's what you're getting. You're getting better odds and plus money. So you have less liability on them, winning by more than 1. If it's minus 0.75, that means that you have one bet on the half, one bet on the full. So if they win by 1, you're going to win, half your bet. I don't really do that, so I'm not really sure that I have much to say on it. I don't really bet it. Yeah, you're going to have to rewind the show. I mean, we're 35 minutes in, and you're asking about MLB. I appreciate you listening, Dennis, but you have to re-listen. We already talked about those games. I might, and I'm saying I might, we might be having someone call in to talk a little hockey tonight. I know a lot of people like it, and I'd love to have someone to talk about it. Are you still planning on being a tout after this season? Not sure what you mean. What season are you talking about? What do I think about Tiger Woods' victory? I thought it was terrific. I was very happy. It's nice to see Tiger with such a terrific comeback from the depths of peril to now where he is, the top of the sport again. It was great to watch and an awesome Sunday. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to send them in. Why are you a Yankee fan? I'm not bringing that up again. I've talked about that time and time again. My family were Yankee fans. My grandpa, who brought me up on sports, was a big Yankee fan. He taught me about the Yankees, and from then on, I was a Yankee fan. I'm not really going to get into it. I know a few good friends who are Philly sports fans, and they would not be happy about a Philly fan liking the Yankees. Well, again, that's their business. I don't really care. Again, I have reasons that are deep down enough for me. So I don't look. I don't root against the Phillies. I hope they do. I gladly want them to do well. I just like the Yankees. It's that simple. I'm not sure what your friends would have any. They don't even know me. They don't. They're not even in the same league. Do you think you or Vegas Dave are more of the Donald Trump of sports betting? Um, I don't know. I don't think I'm as hated as those guys, but hey, it's all good to be the most hated. Thanks for watching. Do I think it's mean to call a junkie a junkie? Um, do I think it's mean? I don't know. I mean, I think it's distasteful. I would just say they're more of a drug user, maybe. I've called people junkies before, though, because some people are low down junkies. They steal, they commit felonies to aid their drug habit. They are junkies. Would I, if I had a friend that was a drug user, would I call them a junkie? No. But there are people that do things that are trashy. Have I ever talked to Vegas Dave? No, listen, we're not talking about Vegas Dave. I have no comment on him. He's got his own show. You can watch him on that, and you can get your own opinion on him. He has nothing to do with what I do. Have I ever talked? No, I've never talked to him. What's my best bet of the day? I definitely like the Sixers. I don't have any premium plays tonight though, so I don't. Maybe I'm not helping you enough, but I gave 3 games that I have an opinion on. You can kind of take them from there. I was hoping to get someone to talk hockey on tonight. I'm not sure if we're going to get them on or not. It's kind of short notice, but we'll see. Cold day around here. The weather's been very odd. It's very windy. It's nippy for sure. We're in and out of spring. Sometimes it's like this weekend it was really nice, and now all of a sudden it's kind of cool again. Any chance Loshak will be back? Like I said earlier, I mean he's welcome to come on anytime. I asked him if he wanted to. He's always eligible to come on if he wants. And yeah, I'm sure he will. For sure. Thanks for watching, Jeff Willett. Thanks for watching, man. Appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Every day we're trying to build more subscribers. Football season will be back before we know it. For anyone that doesn't know, and again, everyone pretty much knows at this point, I did have a meeting up at Barstool Sports the other day. It went very well, as far as I know. What's going to happen from that is I don't know. We're still kind of chatting, but I have some great ideas. I have some big time thoughts on it, and I hope that it all works out. But yeah, I mean, it was terrific. Just came over to check out the Loshak interview. Did you have a good convo? Yeah, it was very good. Peter's doing well, and it's nice to see him back in the saddle again, as they say. A couple guys saying that the Flames are going to win tonight against Colorado. So maybe we'll tail those guys. A couple of series tonight, 4 actually. I probably should have actually here. I think we do have our good friend on the show. We haven't had him on this show, I don't think yet, but he's on now. Andrew McGinnis, what's up, buddy?
Hey Jeff, how are you, man? Show you a quick
Good,
message. Good to hear from you. How are you?
good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I'm doing well. I noticed that, and I want to tell you, McGinnis, I not bet hockey all year. It's just not something that I do. I let you guys kind of run with it, and you guys do a great job. You're all Canadians, and you know the sport. And look, I'm not going to bet something I don't know, but I followed Vegas last year. I had a future on them last year. I remember at the beginning of the season, Ian Cameron told me about the Sharks and that they're really good and that kind of thing. And, I made a bet the other night. I took the over. And what do you know? The over comes into the first period. How about that? The first hockey bet of the season for me. And it was a stone cold easy winner. We have 4 games tonight. We'll start up with Boston, Toronto. First of all, how you been, buddy? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing really good, Jeff. Just got back actually from Punta Cana. I was there for a wedding,
Ooh,
a
very good.
family wedding. So I'm peeling. I'm a little bit brown, a little bit red. They're calling me Mucho Blanco when I first showed up to the resort. I was very white, and then I was Mucho Rojito because I was very red the whole time. But you know
Yeah.
what? Kind of a bad time to be away, Jeff. You know what I mean? As a sports fan, in the month of April, I had a great time there, but it's good to be back, man. Like every day, I'm just getting up, grinding, and doing my research, and then at night, just enjoying watching the sports. So yeah, as far as Vegas goes, Jeff, I'm happy you had the over there. It's so funny because they have such a great goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury. He's amazing. He's outstanding. He had such a great career with Pittsburgh. But with the guys that they've picked up, and they grabbed Mark Stone from Ottawa, they now pretty much have 2 top lines. And in San Jose, they have some issues, man. I mean, they're supposed to have such great defense, but their goaltending is horrific. It's absolutely horrible. It's horrible. I mean, their goaltending is letting in some terrible goals, and Martin Jones is clearly their number one option right now, but he's not doing a great job whatsoever. But yeah, this Boston Toronto game tonight here, Jeff. A lot of people waiting on kind of hearing about the suspensions for Nazem Kadri and hearing the injury problems with Jake DeBrusk and Torrey Krug. That's a big factor, and I think Jeff, I don't know how much you follow, but I know as a sports guy, you definitely follow. You see on Twitter, you follow ESPN Sports, all that kind of stuff. You know that Boston's known for being the quote for quote big bad Bruins. They have that reputation for being very physical, right? So I think this is once again the worst matchup the Leafs could have gotten. And it's a brand new format here. It's still relatively new over the past couple of years in the NHL for the way this format has worked. It's no longer 1 versus 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, etc. It's all about your division and then the next wild card position. So because if it was still the old fashioned way, my Montreal Canadiens would still be in the playoffs this year as the 8th seed. But I won't talk about that. I want to say the only pick that I'm really going on with this game, I'm staying away from the side. I'm on the over in this one here tonight in Boston, Toronto. I feel like out of all the games so far, this is the one here where the floodgates really open up. Game number 1, when the Leafs took it, they played their best kind of hockey. They played the kind of hockey that they want to play, a great defensive style game, but they used their speed, they used their youth. Game 2, they fell into the Boston trap. They fell into the physicality aspect. They fell into the dirty aspect. They fell into playing below the net. And that's not what you want to do. You can't be cute. You can't be fancy. You got to get your shot numbers up. You got to get in their face because they're not as tough as Boston. They're not as physical. They can't play that style. But what they do have is skill. Austin Matthews, I'm sure you know that name, Jeff. Last year, he was pretty much invisible in the playoffs. And I think tonight he comes to life. I think Mitch Marner comes to life. I think Nylander comes to life. Marlowe, Tavares, they don't have all these guys that just stand around. They need to have them as an offensive threat. And I think tonight we really see those floodgates open up. This is game number 1 in Toronto. And a very interesting bet here as well, Jeff. I believe so far it's undefeated with this bet where the home team has scored the first goal in their first game at home. So I believe tonight Toronto gets off to a good start and they'll get the job done. So I'm on the first period over, and I'm also on the full game over in this one.
Yeah, the other night the game got obviously pretty violent. We saw the Nazem Kadri with the cross check to Brusque. You look at Kadri; 7 of his last 8 games, he's had a point. He's been very good for them. That's definitely a tough loss. Is he suspended? Is that happening or?
Yeah, it hasn't really been announced yet, but from what I'm hearing, it's 3 to 4 games.
So he will play tonight or no?
No, he will not play. He won't play the rest of the series.
That's
I
what
imagine.
that's what I was thinking. And you look back at his history. I did a little research on this guy. He's had pretty lengthy suspensions. This is the first time from him in this kind of behavior. Kadri's definitely been kind of a player of kind of violent and out of line. But no, that's a good one. So you like the over in this game? Could be a lot of goals scored by maybe Boston. A couple people liking Boston here in our chat. Nice to have some soccer, hockey talk. I don't do much of that. Couple other games here, McGinnis. We got Capitals and Hurricanes. Capitals, I believe, are making quick work of Carolina. Carolina's coached by Laviolette, aren't they?
Carolina? No. But he actually Laviolette. But Carolina here in this spot, Jeff, they have had a great defensive. I can't remember the name of the coach, to be honest with you. But they actually have done a great job with their new coach of learning a defensive style of game. And that's the only way they're going to be successful against this Washington Capitals team. We've seen the first two games go over, and the total was listed at 5.5. Now we've seen it listed as 6. And I feel like, the public is still going to be hammering the over in that spot, but I feel like this will be the first under and lower scoring game. At the same time, Jeff, I can't really see Carolina slowing down this offense. It's unbelievable. The weapons that they have, Backstrom, Ovechkin, Oshie, these guys can't be stopped. They're too much for Carolina. Carolina was a good story. They were a good story for the regular season. The bunch of jerks, the storm surge, all of this, the past couple months really turning things on. But in the playoffs, it's a whole new game. Washington went through that. I mean, we saw it for several years. Washington struggled to get past the first round even. Then last year, they finally got that, monkey off their back and they won the cup. And now they're more comfortable in the playoffs. They know that it's a mix of physical and skill. And I think Carolina's not doing a good job of balancing both. If it's okay with you, one more note about that Toronto game, Jeff. I want to say, because I'm not being biased whatsoever. My favorite team is out of the playoffs. And a lot of people are hating on Jake DeBrusk for the Boston Bruins. I want to make it known that if you're a Leafs fan, you should be mad at Kadri and nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. I mean, there is a lot of cheap shots that DeBrusk took throughout that entire game, and a lot of cheap shots from the rest of the Bruins. But when it comes down to it, for back-to-back seasons, Kadri is ruining your chances of a great defensive game. I mean, you mentioned that Kadri is great points, great player, and he's really worked his way up the lineup throughout his career. When it comes down to it, there's guys like Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, those kind of guys ahead of him. So what his job is to be a shutdown defender. He's supposed to be out there to shut down the opposition. Certain players are just better for that. And now he's supposed to be their agitator, an aggressive guy, but you can't take it over the notch. There were a couple questionable hits made by DeBrusk, but you can't just go ahead. Jeff, there's a difference between a hit or a knee on knee than a guy taking a stick and shoving it right in your face. I mean, that's just making it too easy for the referee. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure. And look, again, we see in all sorts of things. It's always the second guy that gets punished. I mean, Look, DeBrusk, from what I'm reading, public enemy number 1 in Toronto, and of course he is. He was the guy involved, but you watch the game, we saw him being kind of a pest. And look, there are Bruins that are irritating. I mean, Brad Marchand is a pretty irritating guy. He's kind of an annoyance. They're kind of that team that's pretty hateable, and they're Boston and everything, but. Again, Kadri went a little overboard possibly with that behavior.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Leafs fan, if I'm a Leafs fan, I'm pissed at Kadri. That's all it should be. I don't want to hear them whining about the refs, about what DeBrusk did. You should be mad at your own player because he just might have cost you the series. And I mean that. He might not have been the one lighting up the score sheet, but defensively, he's out for back-to-back seasons. Could you imagine one of your top shutdown players being out back-to-back in the playoffs? And I have buddies and people on Twitter, different people telling me, well, something had to be done, Jeff. Someone had to do something, right? Someone had to step up because the Bruins were bullying them. But that just wasn't the answer. That just wasn't the answer.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Washington, Carolina almost looks too easy. Why is Washington getting money here? Again, they are up 2-0, but this could just be a sweep, and that could be very simply that. That's just kind of the outcome. Nashville, Dallas. You got Dallas as a favorite here. They are tied here 1-1. Nashville, Dallas. What do you like here?
I find this one really interesting here, Jeff, because Everyone's loving Dallas in this series. They're supposed to be the upset of the first round, and I couldn't disagree more. I think that Nashville is going to have their best playoffs they've had in a long time. I feel like tonight's going to be their best game they've had at the playoffs so far. I feel like their depth is being really, really underestimated. When I think of Dallas, I think of a few players that can score. When I think of Nashville, I think of 3, maybe 4 lines that can score. And I also look at their D pairings. I mean, Ekholm, Subban, Ellis, those guys jump up into the rush. They're another threat. I mean, when you've got 3 forwards going up the ice, but then you also have 2 defensemen coming up as well, that adds 1 or maybe 2 more men on that rush every single time. Whereas Dallas likes to sit back and take it easy and let their forwards do the work. I mean, if it's not Radulov, if it's not Sagan, if it's not Ben, I don't know who else it's going to be. And that's what really worries me about that team. But here's another interesting point, Jeff. We're getting a 5 tonight in that game for total wise, and that's rare. This is talking about in a same league where we've seen 7s this year. I'm taking a shot with the over, and I know we've seen Rene play great, we've seen Bishop play great in nets, but when you've got a style like this, we got change of locations. I really do think both these teams finally explode because we've seen so many offensive chances for both teams and some great goaltending, but a couple fluke, off the post, off the crossbar. And tonight, I believe we see the floodgates opening up. All we need is 6. A 3-2 game is a push. We're not playing for the push, we're playing for the win. But I believe, at the 5 and still getting a plus price with that, we could definitely like the over in that one. But I'm also going ahead and taking Nashville. I have a series bet on Nashville to win the series, -1.5 games. So as far as those picks go, I like Nashville and I like the over.
How about that? Final game. A couple people were saying they liked the Calgary Flames tonight. They are already up, 2-0 in this series? No, I'm sorry, 1-1.
1-1.
Colorado Avalanche, the opponent, down in the Pepsi Center, same place the Nuggets play. You got Smith and Grubauer in goal. Small favorite or Colorado. You're going to back Calgary here?
I am. It seemed like the obvious play here, but the odds are being provided. Last game would have been the best game to take Colorado. I like that spot. I mean, you look at the way they came out. They did exactly what they needed to do and play in a lower scoring type game. And I sound like a broken record when I'm saying this, Jeff, but I truly mean this with playoff hockey. It's all about having depth in that secondary scoring. It's different. It's different than a sport like basketball where you can have the big 3. The big 3 does not work in hockey whatsoever. And you take Pittsburgh Penguins for a perfect example. Everybody knows Phil Kessel. Everybody knows Sidney Crosby. Everybody knows Evgeny Malkin. But how's that working out for them? They're going to get swept by the New York Islanders. You have to have secondary scoring. And unfortunately, Colorado does not have that. I'm a huge Nathan McKinnon supporter. He's from my hometown here, Jeff. And I watched him play junior hockey. He's been a great advocate for the city, and he scored the overtime winner for Colorado in that last game. But the problem is, it's just him, it's just Rantanen, it's Landeskog, but there's nobody else. You look at Calgary; they've got so many weapons. I think tonight we see Frolik. I think we see Monahan. I think we see Gaudreau get on the board and start to dominate. Mike Smith has also had an outstanding playoffs. Jeff, this is a guy that's playing his best hockey since his Arizona days. And that, I came into this series thinking that Calgary and San Jose, both those 2 teams would be some of the higher scoring series. And all of a sudden, the game 1, 4-0, game 2, 2-1 OT game. No, I'm off the total in this one, but I think Calgary gets the job done. And it's so shocking at the odds we're being provided, Jeff. I think, you've been involved in this industry much longer than me, so you can attest to this, but I mean, based off what we saw from Colorado, they played a great game. They played their perfect game. Grubauer's playing great in nets. But this is too good to be true, in my opinion, for Calgary here on the road spot.
Yeah, definitely seems interesting. No sharp money on this game, but yeah, no, it definitely looks interesting. But I think it's telling though that even on the road, Calgary is just a small favorite. Great stuff, McGinnis. Know your hockey well. Do you have a favorite play tonight out of all these? Do you have any one you like more than another?
Yeah, that Bruins game's going over the total, Jeff. That's going over 6.
Okay.
I think this will be the one. I mean, it's a physical series with some excellent goaltending, but I think if the Leafs got to be successful, they got to come out strong here, and we're gonna see a lot of goals in that one tonight. This is the one.
Now, my final question for you is, and again, on Friday I said this, so I want to make this very clear. I said that I thought that the New York Islanders are going to win the Stanley Cup. What do you think of that?
The Barry Trotz mentality, man. I'm not going to disagree with you. All bets are off right now with the way Tampa Bay is playing, right? I mean, all bets are certainly off. I will say, coming into this season, Jeff, I listed a Western Conference team to win the Cup. But as far as the East, yeah, I don't blame you. Defense wins championships in every sport. And Barry Trotz, the head coach of New York Islanders, won it last year with the Capitals with that exact mentality. New York Islanders went from being one of the highest scoring teams and one of the most over-trending teams last year to being now the most under-trending team, lowest scoring team. He turned all these guys around defensively, and Robin Leonard's been great in nets. I like to hear that stuff from you, Jeff. Good stuff. Good stuff from you, man. I like it. I wish you luck with it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, quick before we let McGinnis go, it's just come across the wire. Not that anyone needed a declaration to know this, but Zion Williamson has declared for the 2019 NBA draft, which none of us are surprised by. Definitely was concerned to see Rui Hachimura leave. I knew he would, but again, I would have liked to have seen him stay one more year. I think his IQ is quite low, and I think he will turn in to maybe a little trouble at the NBA level. But real quick, I know, McGinnis, you do some basketball stuff up in Canada. Did you get more involved with basketball this year, or what happened? What happened with basketball?
As far as NBA goes, or
just with college, did you bet more of it this year, or?
Not too much. I try and stay in my lane with that. I do. I'm representing right now Dalhousie, the Canadian school. That's the school I do the commentating for and announcing. We won the local championships here, the Atlantic province. I don't know I think the last time, Jeff, you and I talked about this, and we were talking about this with Gabe as well. Do you know that Duke and all those schools, they come around and do the Canadian tour sometimes? Yep. You know about that, right?
Sure. They play Carleton and other teams.
Yeah, so I think I told you this story, but pretty much, I've always wanted to kind of be a media guy. Then eventually, I just got into sports betting. But do you know Dave Smart, the head coach? You've heard about his name, right?
Of Carleton.
Yeah, of Carleton. Yeah.
Yeah, I followed.
So yeah, so anyway, I was like the open press conference, pretty much like for the tournament, the national tournament here in Halifax, and I'm sitting there and I'm just taking it all in, and they're taking questions and. Dave Smart literally said, look, we can beat Wichita State. We can beat this school. We can beat that school. We can beat that school. And I had to humble him a little bit. So they said, any questions from anybody? So I'm a little bit nervous. I put my hands up and I said, Coach Smart, I gotta call you out on that. I gotta ask a little more questions. Can you expand on that? How do you really feel you guys stack up against NCAA teams? And I'll tell you, Jeff, he seemed perfectly confident, perfectly, no, I wouldn't even say too cocky, just very confident in his team and his ability that they would be able to stack up against most NCAA teams any given night. And it's very interesting to me to see that certain teams like Duke won't even go play Carleton. And it's interesting because from a guy in my spot, Jeff, that I know I don't handicap NCAA and I don't know how to talk it with you guys. And I stay in my lane and I won't go overboard with it. But it pisses me off sometimes, the disrespect that we get in the Canadian conferences, because we do have some talent out here. We do have some great players. It's just that the NBA feeds off the NCAA. We don't have really that connection to that league. So my job and what I've been trying to do, I had a little media company where I was filming players and trying to get them recruited to the States, is to get them that direction. But I don't want people to think that here in our universities, it's just terrible basketball, because it's not true. It's false. No, we have good basketball here.
No, I've definitely, Gabe and I kind of disagreed on that for a while, because he kind of made the same, point that, look, I will give Carleton the respect. Look, Dave Smart's a great coach, and look, what they do up there is quite amazing. But I guess I look at it and I say to myself, well, I mean, I'm looking at this schedule from last year. I mean, this is a team that lost to Gustavo Adolphus College, Bethel University. What are these universities? I mean, I don't know. I just think they could come down during the regular season and beat one of these teams, I think it's fairly hard to believe. But no, look, I think we've seen in the NBA a lot of Canadians get into the league. I mean, you look at even this season with a guy like R.J. Barrett or even like a Jamal Murray who's already in the league. I mean, all those guys are Canadian. Andrew Wiggins. I mean, there's been some really good Canadian players. And, again, I think if you say that Canadian basketball isn't any good, I think you're just kind of, you're just kind of hurting yourself, because it definitely is.
Yeah.
Great stuff, McGinnis. Good stuff. You can find McGinnis. Where can we find you, McGinnis?
Twitter at McGinnis Picks for all my opinions, thoughts, and information. And of course, as you can see behind me, sportsmemo.com for all my plays. So, and last note there, Jeff, watch out for my guy, Lindell Wigington. He's going to be the very first Nova Scotian getting drafted to the NBA. He's making, I know you're very prideful, Jeff, about where you're from, and I also am. And he's going to be the very first Nova Scotian drafted into the league. So it's a huge deal for all of us in our city. And he's from a very small part of town here, and he's going to put him on the map. So he's inspiring a lot of kids here, and it brings joy to all of us. It's great news.
How about that? I never knew he was. I never knew he was from Nova Scotia. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. He's from a smaller town, and
Dartmouth, Canada.
He's from a more, I don't know how to put this, but it's more impoverished type area. So he's really inspiring a lot of kids, and he's doing a great job. He's actually been back in the town right now.
Yeah, I actually know he played for Oak Hill. Oak Hill's
yes.
a very predominant school. No, listen, I think he's if anyone can remember Jamal Tinsley, he was a guard that played for the Pacers. He's kind of similar, Ish Smith maybe. He's not a huge kid. It's only 6'2". I think he can find his way onto the team. I think he's got more strengths than weaknesses.
He can fly.
Yeah, the problem is he's just not a big player. That's kind of his issue. But he's a two guard. I mean, he's going to play the two. I think when he was at Oak Hill, he played with Matt Coleman, Matt Coleman's at Texas now. He's got to get a little bigger. He's a bit old, but I think he'll find his way into the league. That's good work. Good stuff there. Great work, McGinnis. Follow McGinnis on Twitter at McGinnis Picks. Good luck with the hockey, bro.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time. Take care.
All right, cheers, man. Andrew McGinnis, always great hockey info from McGinnis. You can find him on Twitter at McGinnis Picks. That's it for me, guys. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Fun show as always. We'll be back Tuesday with another show. I will probably be on Periscope later. You could join me on that, maybe during the Sixer game. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for watching. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for all the candor today. Have a good night. Bye-bye.